Welcome back, everyone, to our new season of the Check-In Podcast. My name is Cameron Billett.
My name's Ian.
And we are your hosts of the Check-In Podcast. I know you guys see my social media, and I'm saying like I'm gonna come back later after school and everything. But just with everything that's been going on lately, pertaining to the news, Ian actually brought it up that we should definitely have an episode talking about Astroworld. So for those of you out there who don't know what the Check-In Podcast is, the Check-In Podcast is a podcast run by young adults for young adults. And it's just a podcast where we talk about everything that's going on in the world, whether it be pop culture, news, entertainment, music, films, whatever's going on in the world. That's what we talk about, and we check in. We check in every week. So for this first episode of the season, this impromptu episode, we actually do have a guest, our cousin Serena Billett. Serena, Serena is our beautiful, talented, fun cousin. And guys, Astroworld happened this weekend, and so we just wanted to get in and talk about it. But before we do any of that, we know you guys know how we check in, and every week we check in with one word of the week to describe our week. So Serena, since you're our guest, you're gonna go first. And I know the week just started, but if you could use one word to describe your week or your day so far, what would that word be?
Uplifting. I'll say that.
Okay,
I
that's
started
good.
with therapy in the morning, so I'm good for the rest of the day. I should be good for the rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say uplifting.
Uplifting. That's nice. That's nice. And what about you?
I would say recovery. I would say that because I had Jiho, was it last week or a week and a half ago?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Your boy did his thing during Jiho, you know what I'm saying? Scored first, obviously. But,
Period.
you know, obviously, I did my thing. And, I'm a little still under the weather a little bit, just a slight little head cold, nothing serious, you know what I'm saying? Got tested, no vid, you know what I'm saying? Just a slight head cold, nothing some soup can't take care of or anything. So, yeah.
Okay. So recovery is your word you're using this week.
Yeah, that's exactly my word.
Okay. Y'all want to hear mine?
Of course.
Okay. So the word I would use to describe my week so far is it's between drowning and chaotic. Because, those of you out there who are in school, you already know November is the worst month of the semester, of the fall semester usually. It gets pretty hectic. All of a sudden your assignments are due. And just things in my personal life has just I just know this month is going to be crazy. So yeah, so I wouldn't say drowning because I'm keeping my head above the water, but I am struggling to swim at the moment. I must say.
You got a little floaty.
Yeah, I got a floaty on me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna drown, but I might go underneath the water a couple of times.
Okay.
Gotta vibe back up. But yeah, you guys. So Ian, it was your idea to have this podcast about Astroworld. Guys, Ian called me up at like Sunday morning, just woke up, morning breath, morning face. And he was like, yo, what's going on in Astroworld? And I was just like, bro, I don't know. I just saw the news, like it's crazy. And he was just like, I think we should have a podcast episode about that. So Ian, can you tell us why did you want to have a podcast episode about Astroworld?
Well, one, I have been on a podcast and I've been, you know what I'm saying, I've been in schoolwork and I had a little bit of free time. That's one. But two, it was just blowing up right in my face. I was just like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I ain't know what was happening. And, one of our podcasts is about current events geared towards young adults. So I said, this is a current event, blowing up right in our face. Travis Scott, Astroworld, obviously, he's a big influencer in our generation. So I said, why not let's do a little bit of research? Why not let's get the news out to the people? Yeah.
And I completely agree with you. Yeah, so that was Ian's reasoning, and I agree with him. Travis Scott is looked up by, he has so many fans, looked up to by so many people of so many age groups. And just this tragedy that happened, I just really want to talk about it. But just for the audience out there who has probably seen the buzz, but hasn't really dived into what's really going on, I'm gonna tell you guys what Astroworld is, and then I'm gonna tell you guys the incident, and then we'll discuss. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay. So Astroworld is a music festival held every year since 2018. It was hosted and introduced by rapper, songwriter, and music producer Travis Scott. It is named after his third studio album, Astroworld, which also came out in 2018, and that album, which was named after Houston's very own Six Flags Astroworld. It was also the site where the festival was held and has been held for the past 3 years. So this site is very meaningful to Travis Scott because he is from Houston. He grew up in Houston, and like this was a festival just to bring people out and enjoy good music. However, a CNN headline that is being updated every day says Astroworld was a death trap. An attendee says, as more lawsuits are filed and Travis Scott's Las Vegas show canceled. So Astroworld again was an event hosted by Travis Scott in which 8 people and counting, 8 people confirmed, 8 people were died in a crowd wave. What did you guys think like when you first heard the news about that?
I mean, for me, I was shocked a little bit, but then again, I knew how like Travis Scott is at his other concerts and how the fans are. They always raging, like that's his thing. He likes, when people rage and shit like that. So it wasn't really surprising to me. It was just more the fact of how he handled the situation and how he's continuing to try to handle the situation, which is not good. I'll say the least.
Oh, what do you think, Ian? Wait, how did you feel when you first heard it?
Well, when I first heard it, I thought like, I honestly thought like a shooting happened for real.
You thought what?
A shooting happened or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a concert and it was just like 8 people are dead at Astroworld. I'm just like, why did 8 people just die at a concert? Like that's just random.
Right.
And then when I found out the reason as to why they died, I was just like, what? So, yeah.
Have either of you guys had your own experiences with crowds, and have they been negative or positive?
You want to go?
No, you go. You guys.
So I remember like back in maybe 2013, we had this thing in Rochester called like a summer jam. And I remember like Jason Derulo was there. This was back when like, the nigga was actually doing shit. But it was Jason Derulo and like there was a bunch of other people there too. And I remember we was in the crowd, like the gate was like right here. And we was in the crowd like dancing and stuff like that, just cheering. And I'm not gonna lie, I did knock over the gate. And I ran when like, but the thing is, that's the thing. When you get all that adrenaline and everybody's there, you just like run, which is not a good thing. I don't condone this at all. But
right.
I remember pushing the gate and then just like running up to the front. But that was back in 2012. I was maybe like, I was about 15. No, not 15, maybe 14, 13. And I did that. But I mean, nothing really happened. Fortunately, nothing happened, but that was my experience.
That's good nothing happened because it's crazy. What about you, Ian?
Well, my stature is kind of 5'10", 200, you know what I'm saying? I hold my own in big crowds, you know what I'm saying? And like the crowds I really experience are like at parties, parties and stuff like that. And I mean, I can party, you know what I'm saying? I can get down, but I mostly go to parties when my female friends want to go to parties just so I can look out for them. And like I said, I look out for them, and when I notice them, like they get like squished or like, you know what I'm saying, like if they need to start playing, everybody start jumping. You know what I'm saying? I try to pull them out in the middle, make sure they have like an outer circle so they got some hair and all that. I know crowds get crazy like that, and yeah, I mean nobody got hurt or anything, but
you guys, it seems like you guys have had 2 pretty mild experiences with crowds. When I heard the news about Astroworld, number one, it was like one of my biggest fears, like confirmed. Because I've had two very negative experiences in crowds, and I do not like crowds. And it's because I'm standing at 5 feet tall, y'all. So I personally, I might be able to hold my weight in a crowd, like make sure I have space. But when it comes to people like being able to fall on top of me, trample me, that's like a real fear for me because I've been in a crowd before where I've almost been trampled both times. I was the first crowd was at Howard University, and Howard University is my current undergrad institution at the moment. And those of you guys who know Howard, we always get a lot of like famous people that come do screenings of their movies and stuff like that. And so when Us was coming out by Jordan Peele, um, it was going to be screened a week earlier for us in our auditorium. Jordan Peele came, Winston Duke came, and Lupita Nyong'o came. Now it was free for students. You just had to get to Crampton Auditorium and get your ticket earlier that day. Now, anytime like somebody comes and you get and you get a ticket for an event, the doors may not open till like 10 a.m., but people are standing in that line at like 6 a.m. because nobody's trying to miss it. So I get to the line around 7:30 a.m. because I just knew it was gonna be long already. And as each hour went by, people just started getting more anxious. Some people started moving about inside the building, and you could see them because it's glass doors. And it's like as soon as people saw somebody in the building, they started running. And it's like it's like in a crowd, even if you don't want to run, if you're in the middle of the crowd, it's run or be ran over, pretty much. So I started running, and then we get there and we get like to like a standstill, and I'm in the crowd, and it's like everything's chill, everything's calm, but then they're about to open doors again. And at this point, it's not a line anymore; it's a crowd. So whoever can get to the front to the first door is getting to the first door. You feel me? And so at one point in time, I think somebody was about to open the door, but then the crowd like surged forward. And this is what happened at Astroworld. Like the crowd surged forward, and that's how people were trampled and died. But the crowd surged forward, and then all of a sudden, I didn't have no room to breathe. Like I only had like a little bit of room to breathe. I used that opportunity to take off my book bag. I took off my book bag and put it in front of me. And because I had a big textbook in the front of me, I was able to hold it like hold it steady like this in front of me so that I could have just a little bit of room to breathe. So after I got my ticket, I was like, I'm never standing in a crowd for Howard ever again. And I haven't to this day because first of all, a person passed out in the crowd. And that's just a student crowd. That's just a student body crowd. It's not like you're with 50,000 people, which it was 50,000 people at Astroworld. And so that happened. I never stood in the crowd again. And then the second time I got into a bad crowd incident was I went to the Black Lives Matter protest last summer, like last summer was 2020, last July, I want to say. And this was a time around in DC where like it was just tear gas, military upon military, like it was terrible. And I remember like towards the end of the protest or towards the end of the curfew, they had like a stated curfew like while the protest was going on. Police officers started like closing in, and as they started closing in and like started shooting tear gas, like the crowd started like running. And again, if you're in a crowd and people start running and you're not on the outskirts, it's run or be ran over. And I'm small too. And I came with some of my friends, and my other friend is small. So we started running, and like it's too much. Like we trip, we fall down, we get back up. After that, like we keep running, and as we're running, we're trying to run in a diagonal fashion so that we can get on some type of sidewalk so they won't get ran over. And that's my second occurrence with crowds. And yeah. So this Astroworld incident was really triggering for me to like watch and to see.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That was my experience with crowds. And so this Astroworld Fest, like I said, is like one of the things, like one of my worst nightmares coming true because both times in the crowd, I feel like I could be trampled. And I've seen like shows and movies where people have been trampled to death. And I knew that could be like a very real possibility for me. Like I was scared for my life in both crowds that I was in. So for people to go to, and that's why I'm wary of concerts that like you have to stand in them. Like if I can't have an actual seat, I'm not gonna buy a ticket to that concert just because like I just know how people get. They get into like this mob mentality. Like when you get into a crowd, people start acting like robots and not like
actual human
themselves.
beings.
Yeah. What did y'all feel about like when y'all heard that? Like what did and that the show kept going? What did y'all feel like I want to say, like, what did y'all feel like that says like about humanity? Because like some of the testimonials I was reading was just like chilling.
They don't give a fuck. People don't give a shit, especially Travis Scott. He did not give a fuck about nothing that was happening in the crowd. You see ambulance, like there was clips of ambulance. They were trying to get through the crowd. People standing on top of the car, dancing and shit. I'm pretty sure as an artist, when you're looking in the crowd, you see shit like that. So the fact that you saw it, you didn't try to say, yo, stop, clear way for the ambulance and shit like that. You kept going with your concert. It just shows you don't have no type of sympathy whatsoever for these people.
I feel that. What about you, E?
I just saw what I saw is just like how people put celebrities on this pedestal when they actually just had the same 24 hours that we do, and disregarding everybody else's life that's moving forward and everything because somebody got some money or makes some good music and everything. I personally think it's more. You said in the beginning it was 8 people. I heard yesterday it was 10 people. I personally think it's more than that passed away, just because of all the stories I've read and all the TikToks I've seen of like medics that were actually there. They said there was just like bodies dropping like left and right, you know. And I was just like, how do you not feel that you're stepping on somebody and everything like that? It's just kind of wild. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm about to read y'all the facts. So the facts is that concert occurred Friday night, November 5th. The event was supposed to cap at 30,000 people, and yet 50,000 people were in attendance that night.
You're fucking kidding me.
Bruh. EMTs and security were not equipped to handle a crowd that large. 8 people between the ages of 14 and 27 were killed in that crowd. And someone or some people were injecting concert goers with needles of drugs. And also, I took the time to look up some history. 4 facts. 3 people suffered leg injuries from being trampled at the 2019 iteration of the Astroworld Festival. The show continued on. That was in 2019. Number 2, Live Nation, which is a concert promoter, a venue operator, and an owner of Ticketmaster, has been cited numerous times in the past for safety violations, meaning like they've been understaffed with security, they've been understaffed with emergency and medical personnel, they haven't had good crowd control, all of that. And Live Nation is the concert promoter that promotes this festival. Number 3, Scott was charged with disorderly conduct and inciting a riot at his May 2017 show at the Walmart, Arkansas Music Pavilion. And then number 4, in 2015, Mr. Scott pleaded guilty to charges of reckless conduct after he encouraged fans at Lollapalooza in Chicago to climb over security barricades and onto the stage.
Yeah, he endorses all this shit. Like even on his social media, which like they were saying, I was reading this article and it was saying like he started deleting all his old tweets. He was like encouraging motherfuckers to like rage out and shit and to you know do damage and stuff like that. And then he was posting on Instagram of motherfuckers like running through gates and shit like that. And he was like, "Oh, ragers and shit." Like you don't care. You encourage all this shit, and as an artist, you held to a high fucking standard. And the fact that you encourage this shit, it's all you. It's all like you're the one that's responsible for everything. Not everything, but like you had a way of stopping this shit from happening.
Who do you think's to blame, me?
You know, I think it's blame on like both sides, like people who went to the concert and Travis Scott. You know, being like I mean, there's people that like Playboy Cardi and stuff like that. They're known for raging, but they know how to rage safely. Or like they'll see something and be like, "Hey, yo, like nah, that's not how you do it," or whatever. But he don't have any guidelines on how to rage, you know, and so that's a flaw in him. But it's just like how just people are just easily influenced, and they're not really thinking for, you know, like what makes you think you can just jump up and down and trample people and squish people up and everything
and still continue to jump.
Yeah, I mean, that's not cool for real. So, yeah, I think it's the blame on both sides.
I feel like it's not just two sides. I feel like it's multiple sides, and like everybody in the situation is to blame, in my opinion.
You said
Because
what?
Yeah.
I said I don't think it's just like a two-sided like argument or like debate. I think everybody is to blame on all sides. Like I think the fact that Live Nation could let a crowd get out of control like that, people bum rushed the gate. They didn't have any. Live Nation as the concert promoter, you're responsible for the venue. You're responsible for the security at the venue. You're responsible for the contracts with the security you make at the venue. So responsible for the contracts you make with the EMTs, emergency personnel, medics, all that. You're responsible for that. So as Live Nation, like I've seen some things from some paramedics saying like they asked another paramedic for some help, and the nigga didn't know what he was doing, and the girl died because he couldn't do. Not only couldn't he do CPR, but then they put her on the headboard, like the long board that you use to pick up patients and carry them. He put her on that backwards, and then cops came in and disrupted the whole thing, picked her up, and they dropped her flat on her face.
Yeah, bro, it's messed up. Yeah.
Is she dead?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I think that's. I mean, we could approach this from so many levels, like from the fucking state allowing concerts to even be happening in the midst of a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
People and like, you know what I've been hating this year is how like, especially with COVID, how people are saying like, I mean, you can get mad at people who are going out and about during COVID, but at the end of the day, like people wouldn't be going out unless the government didn't allow them to go out. And what I've been hating about this entire situation is that we're trying to absolve like all the other humans that are just like citizens that actually have a part in this. You were in that crowd, raging, going the hell off, and trampling over people and not caring. At what point in time do we stop and stop having this herd mentality and are like held accountable for the individual decisions that we make?
Accountability is the word for the day.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
say that.
Have you guys seen some of the testimonials that people have been saying, like of like their experience at the concert?
Yeah, I saw this one guy. He was talking about how he was at the gate, and he said usually at certain concerts, like I think not Lollapalooza, but his other Astroworld concerts, you were able to like back away and get away and stuff like that. But because there was metal gates and shit, he couldn't go nowhere. And so when the shit started raging and stuff like that, he was getting pushed in. But he said he was like 6 feet tall, and his only like he was trying to help people and lift them over the gate to try to get them help and stuff. That's one testimony I saw.
I saw testimonies. I saw I can't really read the testimony or like remember what they said, but I mean I really saw videos of what they were talking about. How like like the gates didn't even like fully open yet for real. And like you know how you like walk into like amusement parks and stuff like that. Walk to amusement parks and the fence, so they had the fences up and they just crashed through the fence and everything, like just tore through the fence. The metal fence, I wouldn't know like wood fence or anything. Tore through the metal fence, tore through the those little turnstile thingies, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They had to get the horses out and everything. Do a little crowd control. This is in broad daylight. Like I was just saying, the festival ain't even start yet. So I mean, that was just the beginning of it. And then like I saw videos of like, I mean, it looked like a wave pool, like like it looked like a wave pool, but just on land, and they was just like getting pushed up to the front, squished onto the gates for, and like.
Mm-hmm.
And like I just saw just like a sea of, I think it was just packed like sardines for. I mean,
yeah, they oversold those tickets.
Yeah.
Either that or people snuck in because the way people was running, people snuck in.
No, facts. They had to have stuck in. Well, one person said the crowd became tighter and tighter, and at that point it was hard to breathe. When Travis came out performing his first song, I witnessed people passing out next to me. We were all screaming for help and no one helped or heard us. It was horrifying. People were screaming for their lives and they couldn't get out. Nobody could move a muscle. Somebody said, basically, if your hands were up in the air, then they stayed up. Like there was no space for you to put them down. That's how packed it was.
Yeah.
That's how packed it was. What else? Everybody was crying. It was the scariest sound I've ever heard. Imagine listening to Travis Scott and people screaming for their lives at the same time. Travis Scott would have a short time in between songs and we would scream our vocal cords out so someone could hear us, but nobody did. This year's festival will be stuck with me forever. I've never seen someone die in front of my eyes. It was horrific. I felt backwards and it felt like it was the end for me. To think that's how I'll die, I was so scared. I did not know what to do. It was all happening so fast, but so slow, and I couldn't react. I just screamed. I was shocked to see people act so inconsiderate and feral. It was insane, and to see so many just run others over like wild animals. People did not care. They still tried to squeeze through just to get to the front without thinking of the consequences and who it would affect. Ooh, woo! That sounds like, I'm telling y'all, this from being in a crowd experience, being a small person, excuse me, in a crowd, like everything that they're saying, I've had those same exact fears. Like, and I'm just glad I'm a person that loves concerts. And I'm just glad I wasn't like, I've had the good sense enough to know not to like risk myself like that for a festival.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
feel like
mean?
if I were to go to like a big concert like that, I'd have to get like the VIPs of the VIPs where I'm like backstage or some shit. Because I'm
Mhm.
not trying to get trampled. I mean, I'm like 5'5", but I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, a big motherfucker's gonna rush into me, and then that's gonna. Can I curse? I've been cursing.
Yes.
Okay, but anyways, like a big motherfucker's gonna rush into me and then push me over. I'm not gonna be able to get out of that unless I have someone else big with me. So I can't. I don't know.
People said people just kept falling on top of them. Like she tried to get up, and then like as soon as she tried to get up, another wave of people fell on top of you. I'm just like, imagine 8 people on top of you at one time.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like speaking of VIPs, there was like the VIP section, like at the concert, right? They was trying to help people, like putting people in the VIP section, and the people in the VIP section was pushing them back into the crowd because they were just like,
Oh,
"Here, why are you here? You don't got a ticket for this." You know what I'm saying? You're not VIP, and just they were pushing them back in the crowd, letting them fall. I was like, "Yo, like, these niggas is dying, yo. Like, you gotta help these niggas out, man." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's
The last crowd I was in was the WizKid concert crowd because I went to see at this, what's the word, Fillmore in Silver Spring. And so that's a standing venue. Like if you get in early, you can go upstairs and sit down. But if you're downstairs, it's a standing venue. People were pushing so bad, and I could barely see the concert. And it was just like at one point, like I said, like I could not move at all. And people just kept like pushing, and like I was just laying on somebody at some point.
yeah.
And as soon as I got to the front, I went straight to the right and I went over to like the station where like you could replenish yourself and stuff like that. People were passing out that concert too. That was like, I had never been to a concert at the Fillmore. So I didn't know it was gonna be like that the whole time. But after that, I was like, I'm never doing that again. But what really surprises me about this entire festival is just like people's lack of like, I mean, compassion. It's so many things that they lack. I don't even.
empathy, sympathy.
Yeah, I seen another thing I saw was um, somebody posted on Twitter. He had. I mean, I'm a sneakerhead, so he had like his French Blue 11s on, and they were just covered in blood. He was like, "This is my souvenir for the night." You know what I'm saying? Like just not being sensitive at all to the situation. He was like, "This is my souvenir for the night. I'll definitely be back at the next one." I was like, "Yo, like, what are you doing, yo?" Yeah.
Yeah, they don't got something wrong. The screw was loose in their head because I don't understand how you could feel normal posting stuff like that or even having that type of mentality about a whole concert where people was dying.
Yeah.
I can't imagine somebody dying in front of my face.
Hmm.
Couldn't see it either.
And at a concert at that. Not even at no place that you would expect people to die.
Yeah, you don't expect people dying at no damn concert.
And their parents probably
Oof.
didn't either.
Especially the 14-year-old. That's so, oh my gosh.
Trampled, and everybody just kept like walking over her body. I remember I saw this one testimonial, and this guy was like how he was trying to make his way off the crowd, and he looked at a girl on the ground, and she was unresponsive, and and he looked down at her, and he looked up at the another person, and they both had the same look on their face. But then a wave happened again, and he was pushed away from her, and he couldn't get her. And have y'all seen the videos of the people trying to stop the camera guys? And like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them camera, like they got up on the stage and tried to help him. It's like they didn't give a fuck. In those
Mhm.
intersessions where Travis wasn't performing, nobody, like the camera guys didn't think to say like this must, like someone said that people are dying in the crowd. Why did it took 40 minutes for them to stop the show?
Yeah.
You did research, yeah. What else? It took 40 minutes to stop the show.
Yeah, they took 40 minutes to stop the show. There was another testimony where they were saying that they were waiving security to like help them, and the security people told them that if you're not unconscious, I'm not getting you out of the situation. I was like, oh my fucking gosh, that's really how that shit is.
That's how it's gonna be.
Like you, if you see me in person and people are on my back, like, and I can't breathe, you're gonna tell me I'm not, unless you passing out, I'm not gonna get you. I'm not gonna save you from that situation. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, like I mean, like I said at the beginning of I'm about to say the beginning of the show, beginning of the podcast. You know what I'm saying? How like I just go to parties just to look out for people for real. I see them just trying to like maneuver through the crowd. I'd be just yanking them and be like, yeah, go over here, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like that's something like you should do as a security guard, you know what I'm saying? You just see like the smaller people or just like people in general just getting like squished up, or like you see them like trying to move throughout tight spaces. You should just help them guide them through, you know what I'm saying? I mean, security guard ain't shit for that. I'm sorry. I don't usually cuss on this podcast, you know what I'm saying? But I don't. But yeah.
Well, can I curse like crazy? Because I love to curse. I'm sorry. I love it.
You're fine.
Okay.
What's about? Oh, so what do y'all think should happen to Travis Scott? Like, some things have already been happening. Like, what do y'all think he should be held accountable for? Because the whole, like, for me, I just feel like you've been encouraging that type of behavior at your events for years, and he's like, I could have never imagined that somebody could die. Like I mean, I'm maybe because he hasn't been in a crowd, so where like he felt like it was a life or death situation. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, you see people jumping around. You've been to parties where people are jumping around. It gets a little out of hand. Like, how could you not think death was a possibility?
I think, like you said about the whole like accountability thing, like Live Nation and Travis Scott need to be held accountable. Travis Scott, there's videos of him seeing like a lifeless body like being dragged out the crowd, and he's sitting there singing at it, staring at it on this big ass pedestal. That shit was weird. So he should file that lawsuit. I think there's already lawsuits being filed against him, but he should be held accountable. And I think I also looked up that he said he was going to cover all the funeral costs, refund admission, and then offer counseling to those affected.
For a month.
For a month?
Therapy for a month.
That is lifetime trauma. What type of, what? What am I do with counseling for a month? And how many sessions? You going to have a session let's say a session
every week?
That's 4 sessions.
That's it?
Yeah. What am I do with 4 measly ass sessions for some shit that you fucking did? And for me seeing a dead body and fucking trauma and closed spaces, that's gonna give me anxiety, PTSD. I'm gonna be depressed off that shit.
Niggas probably can't do crowds ever again. Like, I don't know. What you think, Ian? What you think, like, his, like, what do you think he owes, like, the fans and the people at the event?
You see, I'm serious. I was about to lighten up the mood with a slight joke, you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad I didn't say it right here. I think he owes the fans. I don't even want to hear another apology because he was just rubbing his face in his first one.
And it's just, I feel like what really happened is, you know how motherfuckers when they cheating in tests and they got the shit on his hand. I feel like I'm just so sorry. It was just, it's so like, if you want to really apologize and do it like in a fake way, at least his team should have told him to sit down, you know, have a camera ready, look at the camera, like look so that you're actually looking at people, you know, and it shows some sort of empathy or some sort of sympathy. But nigga, you rubbing your fucking face and oh, it's just this and that. Nigga, I don't accept that.
Yeah. He needs a sincere apology. I mean, I really wouldn't want an apology for him, but I mean, he needs a sincere one. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I really don't know what you can do for real. I mean, he is rich, so money. But I mean, I don't know what you can do. Lives are lost already. Yeah, personally, what he should do, make some Travis Scott shoes $5. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Or what he should do is any proceeds that he has for any of his merchandise go directly to the families that have been affected by this traumatic event.
That and I can get me a pair of shoes.
Here it is. No. You are.
This nigga wasn't even at the damn concert.
Yes.
Travis don't have to know that.
This podcast will though.
This podcast will know. Yeah, will know. This podcast will know that you're making light of a situation and asking. Yeah. Is this the joke that you thought wasn't the right time for?
Oh, yo.
Huh?
I am brightening up the mood. I'm lifting up spirits. You know what I'm saying?
What spirits are you uplifting?
I mean, you have to cut him some slack. It was a little jokey joke that we all laughed at. Didn't make much sense, but we laughed at it together.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the last thing he's gonna do now that he's about to be in so much debt is lower the price of anything that he's selling. That's number one. Number two, I definitely think he should, of course, pay for the funerals. Like that's just a given. Like
that's a basic thing.
If that nigga wasn't confident up no money for the funerals, we'd really have an even more problem. I'd be looking at the nigga sideways like. You said what?
You said Roddy Ricch paid for the funerals and they want you in the show.
Roddy Ricch said he would pay for something. So many people, celebrities had like sent their condolences, like said like this is crazy, could have never imagined. And Travis, like, I don't know, this man really blows me. Like I just don't think his music, okay, like he's different in that genre, that's cool, but I just don't think he's like that great of a person, honestly. And I don't know him personally, so like what I say can't, hold true in a court of law. But I don't know, like just this whole incident, and like I've seen videos of him before, like amping up the crowd. So because he has a history of this, I do think he needs to be charged with something.
Yeah. Do you remember that one video where he was like, I guess it was a big crowd. I don't know what the fuck happened, but he was like, fuck that nigga up, fuck him up.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, so you're inciting, you're encouraging violence.
You're violent. And then he got into a crowd one time and was like, come here. And he was trying to beat somebody up, and the security was like, whoa. They pulled him back. And then I think that's the same time he was like, fuck him up. And I'm just like,
fuck him up.
I'm like, you want somebody to get jumped at your concert? That's what I'm hearing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no. He's paying for the funerals. He's paying for a month of therapy. That's just bare minimum type shit.
Refund admission.
Oh, but there's something going around today talking about like don't accept the refund for the admission because there's a not a policy but a clause in the refund admission that basically like they can use this like as like a settlement. So if you accept the money then you don't have the ability to sue.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Because they knew they about to get sued out their ass.
They listen, lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. It will never end. And plus on top of that, they got ammo. They got evidence from past years of Travis Scott doing this shit. He's not gonna get away with this. Kylie better kiss his ass goodbye.
Come on
Bye.
now.
Kylie better.
Because they sure do skip when they're not beneficial no more.
Mm-hmm.
They sure do skip when the black man ain't beneficial no
They
more.
dispose of those who don't, help them out financially
Her and Stormy
or
good, she
influence
said.
wise.
Mm, mm, that's crazy to me. And I've seen like hold on, because I think I took a screenshot of it. It was like something happened to his endorsements, I believe. Fortnite Travis Scott emote has been removed in the wake of the rapper's deadly Astroworld thing.
Keep them coming.
No, like he off him not being a good person, he done messed up his bag, he done messed up his career, he done messed up his reputation. Like, man, I just want to know from y'all before we get out of here, what would y'all have done in this situation had you been Travis Scott, the performer?
If I was Travis Scott in that situation, I would have immediately looked in, because obviously you in the center of on stage, you can see in the crowd. If you see people waving their hands, if you see people, hear people saying help, I would have immediately been like, okay, let's stop the show. There would have been, you can't go on with a show like that. Or I would have been at least try to someone get crowd control, because there are people who still want to enjoy the crowd, but it should have never even, if you knew how many people were going to be, well, you really didn't, because people were going to, come anyways. But if you knew it was going to be that type of situation, at least have some sort of crowd control. But he didn't have that. Have some sort of crowd control. Talk to the producers and stuff like that, and been like, okay, if it gets out of hand, within the first 10 minutes, we got to stop. We got to cut the show. It should have never went on, and then 40 minutes later, you cutting the show after people were telling you help, after you went into intercessions and you hearing help and people screaming and crying and stuff like that, and then you continue to go on the show. I would have been stopped that show.
Here's what I would say. No, in no way, shape, or form I defended Travis Scott, because obviously he has a history of inciting violence. You know what I'm saying? When I'm thinking of, yeah, I got you. When I'm thinking of, like, it's a crowd. I'm at the center of the stage. I'm Travis Scott at the center of the stage. It's a crowd of 50,000. 50,000 is a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And being on stage and you got your music playing, then, like, I know I've seen the videos of, like, like people in the crowd saying stop the show, but it wasn't everybody in the crowd saying stop the show. It could have been that little small section, what I'm saying? Hands, and I was just like, what if he probably didn't see that, because 50,000 is a lot of people. We just heard it so loudly just because it was recorded in that crowd. But as soon as I saw the ambulances and stuff like that, I would have done something, as soon as I saw the ambulances, I would have done something. It's just like, I really wouldn't be able to see from his perspective, because 50,000 is really like a mass of people. Yeah, like,
what would you have done?
If I see somebody waving their hands, I'm probably thinking they fanning me on for, what I'm saying?
Oh.
But yeah, obviously, he obviously didn't care though, because we saw like the aftermath and everything. So, yeah.
I don't know. I can't speak from Travis Scott's point of view, because I agree with Ian. Like, I would have I might not have known everything was going on, but for the camera operators, for the security, all the other people that are down there who can make a difference in the crowd, for them to do nothing, oh yeah, nah. Like, I think everybody need to be sued, and the people that ignored it, like the camera operator, I'd want him to be sued too. I'd probably want him to be sued over Travis Scott anyways. Like, Travis Scott may have been the insider, but like, I'm telling you, a girl is dead, somebody's dead, and you're like, go away, go.
And I can't really give that camera operator any benefit of the doubt, for real, because he did have his headphones on, but you can like, headphones only block out so much sound. I still hear stuff through my headphones.
Right.
She was close to him, and she's like, if you yelling and doing all this shit, you don't think something wrong.
Like, I can't really give you no benefit of the doubt. And they obviously still trying to get your attention. They obviously see you doing a job, you know what I'm saying? But you consistently getting your attention, you know what I'm saying? Something must be up. So I can't really give you no benefit of the doubt for it.
Right.
I don't even
Nah.
think I can give Travis Scott a benefit of the doubt because there's other performers. Like I know I legit just saw I think it was Lollapalooza, I think in 2019, and Playboy Cardi, he was told like someone came up on stage and told him people were just passing out in the crowd. He stopped the show and was like, "Okay, guys, I want y'all to be safe." Like,
That was,
you know,
that was this year.
hmm?
That was this year.
That was this year, okay, but still, like he stopped people. Well, he was trying to stop, and he said, "Y'all got to step like 3 steps back," trying to stop the crowd. ASAP Rocky, I think one time he was like cursing cursing a bunch of people out because the girls was falling. He was like, "Pick the fucking girls up, pick the girls up." Like you could see in the crowd that people are being fucked up, and as an artist, you could have easily told them to like, chill the fuck out. But he's just mental. Something wrong with him.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have no sympathy for nobody. Like this is a tragic situation to end up in. But if people just think a little bit longer past the moment that they're currently in, people make better decisions. Like if you had just for a second, yo, me stepping over this girl may not kill her, but if I allow this, somebody else might, step over her, step on her, whatever. Like it just takes a moment of thinking to think, hey, can I make a difference in this situation? And 9 times out of 10, you probably couldn't in that situation.
Yeah.
The last thing that we've noticed about these concerts and these incidences is that, for those of you who don't know out there, Black people are not the majority of people who listen to rap and hip hop music. White people are. And white people are at these events acting a fool, acting an ass. And somehow at these rap events, because raging wasn't a thing at,
Within the
original,
Black community.
not even within the Black community, but just like at hip hop events, if I'm making sense.
Yeah.
Like maybe in the rock and roll community, maybe in the, I wouldn't even say funk. I don't know if they would be raging at a funk concert, but but there's something to be said about a certain demographic of people coming into our spaces truly acting like thugs and then not being held accountable or anything for it.
Yeah.
I think that's something to consider, and I think we can't even if we gatekeep tickets. Money don't discriminate. Whoever gonna buy a ticket gonna buy a ticket. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why them white people be in the front row, VIP, all that.
Front row, VIP, number one's jumping people. Like all I've seen this weekend, and if there could be other footage out there that I have not seen, but what I have seen with my own 2 eyes, it has been white people.
Yeah.
Palm colored folk.
Palm colored people.
Palm colored folk. It's been them. And so I just, just before we go, we have about 3 minutes left on this episode. Just to throw that out there, y'all. If you find yourself coming into a culture, coming into a genre, just a community, and trying to bring things from your community and make it your own in this new community, check that at the door. Because if we don't do that here, then you don't need to bring it here. This is how events like this happen. Everybody in this situation, I believe, is to blame. And I just want us to do better as a society. Like, that could have easily been any one of us that was trampled and just could not get back up, no matter how many times. That's a scary feeling, and nobody should go to an event looking to have a good time, wonder if they're gonna die. That's all I have to say. Our hearts, our prayers, our thoughts, our love is with everyone affected at this event. If you are a victim, please stay strong. I don't know what else to say except for I can understand how you felt in that situation. And just for all the parents out there, stay strong. And milk that man for all he's worth.
Ooh, get that coin.
Milk everybody for all they worth. I'm sorry to have to throw that ghetto tip in at the end, but
it has to be said.
Milk him, okay? So do you guys have anything else to say on the podcast before we leave?
No, I think it was real good.
You know what I'm saying?
Fuck you, Travis Scott. I'm deleting all my music.
Winter
Period.
coming soon. You feel me? Hang on. That's all I gotta say.
Yes, all my college students, hang in there. And if you like today's episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, okay, to the Check-In Podcast 1 on YouTube. And you can follow us at the Check-In Pod 1 on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you again, Serena, for being our first guest of the season.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, I knew I had to grace you guys with my beauty, so we appreciate it.
I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate all the viewers and supporters and sponsors and everybody out there and everybody who's continuing to share our podcast. If you like it, again, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tune in next week for our new episode of the Check-In Podcast. We'll see y'all later.